A wide variety of peoples from a wide variety of cultures have inhabited the British Isles for millennia now. Nowadays, of course, Great Britain is considered a Christian country, and some seem to think that this has always been the case. But I'm here to tell you now, this is not true. Oh no, this land is far, far greater than the Lord Saviour, Jesus Christ. So that ponders the question, what did ancient Brits believe in? Did they have a God? Did they have a moral code? Did they sit down in late December drinking too much port and eating too much chocolate? Well, I can answer that for you right now. No, they didn't do that. But still, I'm curious as to what my ancestors, and probably your ancestors too, if you're white and you live in Canada, the US, Australia, New Zealand, etc., what our ancestors believed in. Who did they live for? What did they live for? And this is a big subject, so it's only a brief history, but a history nonetheless. So follow me, and we will skedaddle and find out. Come on. The thing about pre-Christian Britain is that they didn't write things down the way we do today, so it's very difficult to actually look back and find texts from those eras that prove with certainty what they did. The stuff we know comes from just 3 places: archaeological evidence, Roman writings who were trying to conquer them, or Welsh and Celtic mythology that again was written down centuries after Christianity rocked up. So we're effectively playing detective work with broken pottery, some impressive stone circles and Chinese whispers. Anything you hear about these bygone eras, always take with a pinch of salt. But on the other hand, speculate to accumulate. So I don't know what to believe. But the Celts, who dominated Britain before the Romans showed up, were absolutely obsessed with nature. Like proper tree huggers. Whether it was rivers or trees, mountains, springs, everything seemed to have a spirit or god attached to it. And for them, the natural world was alive with divine powers. Take trees, for instance. Oak trees to them were sacred, so much so that they thought certain groves were literal doorways to another world. So I just thought, imagine trying to explain to your Celtic ancestor that we now use ancient trees as IKEA furniture. Sorry. They probably try and sacrifice us to appease the tree spirits. Bunch of lunatics, aren't they? Weirdos. And don't even get me started on rivers. Rivers were goddesses, all holding divine feminine spirits. As a result, the Celts would throw precious objects into rivers as offerings, which modern archaeologists love them for, because it means we keep finding these amazing Celtic metalwork pieces in our rivers. So next time you're in a river, have a little feel. You might just get lucky. Now let's talk about the Druids, the intellectual powerhouses of Celtic society, who were basically the walking Wikipedias of their day. They would spend 20 years, no less, studying everything from medicine to law, religious knowledge to astronomy. You name it, they knew it. However, they forbade themselves from writing any of their knowledge down, as memory was a key part of their discipline, and writing things down would threaten the secrecy of their knowledge. They didn't want it to get too common. Bit selfish, but it's the Druids, we'll turn a blind eye. They were judges who would settle disputes, astronomers who would track celestial movements, see Stonehenge, doctors who knew which plants could heal or kill, and priests who sometimes performed sacrifices. Yes, even human sacrifices, although probably not quite as much as the Romans claimed, as they wanted their enemies to come across as barbaric as possible, probably to justify conquest. Ooh, little white lie from the Romans there. It's the Romans, we'll let them off. The Druids met annually on the Welsh island of Anglesey, which in 60 CE the Romans came to see as such a threat that they destroyed the Druidic stronghold there. The Romans described it as a place of savage superstition, which, coming from the people who literally watch gladiators fight to the death just for entertainment, is a little bit rich. But hey, again, it's the Romans. It's fine, you know? Loosen up a bit. Christ almighty. When the Romans invaded in 43 CE, it was like 2 completely different systems trying to operate the same computer. The Romans had their organised pantheon of hierarchy, whilst the Celts had local and regional gods, all with different names, different functions. It was just chaos. But then, against all odds, they start blending. I know. Despite all their flaws, the Romans did eventually grow tolerant of local religions, so long as their own religious beliefs were respected. Very much the British way of today. When in Rome and all that. So then, in time, you got these Romano-Celtic fusion deities, where the two societies likely came to an agreement. After all, they were both polytheistic, so I suppose there was a mutual respect between the Romans and the Celts. How lovely. When the Roman Empire faded away and their Romano influences retreated with them, the Anglo-Saxons arrived from what's now predominantly Germany and Denmark. And with them, they brought their very own gods from back home. Think Woden, Thor, Frigg. Sound familiar? It's because we still use their names every single week. Woden, Wednesday, Thor, Thursday, Frigg, Friday. Comprende? The Anglo-Saxons lived by a warrior culture where dying gloriously in battle was enough to secure your spot through their equivalent of Heaven's Gates. They buried their kings with their ships, weapons, and enough jewellery to make a dragon jealous. But it's clear to see that throughout time, after Caesar's Gallic Wars, the Anglo-Saxon occupation, and the rise of Christianity, that slowly but surely the Celtic blueprint, which built up this country, its population, its culture, fizzled out and drew to a close. And that's why it's important to preserve your identity and your culture. Otherwise, sooner or later, it will just be lost to history. It's funny, before the Romans showed up to Britain, I, and I presume many other people, just thought that the tribes and the Celts that were here before them were just a bunch of merciless, uncivilised troglodytes. Yet the more digging you do, the more you come to find that they were just as sophisticated and orderly, and dare I say, even more disciplined than us today. I mean, some may go as far as to say we've gone back in time with regards to education and community spirit. What a pity. Do you have any odds and ends of knowledge or fun facts about faith before Christianity and those Christian missionaries rocked up out of nowhere? Let me know in the comments. Spill the beans. I shall read all of them. See you soon. Thanks for watching.